Okay, before we get started, I want you to ask yourself a question. Does magnetism and radiation have anything to do with each other? Okay, by the end of this video, you'll know the answer. Peace, what it do? All right, so in the not the last video, but the one right before that one, part 7 of this, I was reading the part right before this part in the book that you're seeing. Is about the magnetic radiation released or giving off by the hydrogen atom due to the spin of the electromagnet. Now, up to that point, I've explained how that came about, so I'm not going back and I'm not going to read this right here, but he's essentially explaining the corkscrew style electric wave that comes off of the hydrogen atom. Right, at one point it gives off mostly magnetic energy, at another time it gives off mostly electric energy. You know what I mean? So that's what this is saying right here. So I'm ain't gonna read it. You can read it if you want to, but we're gonna come down here to the bottom where he's about to explain how another way that they know that the hydrogen atom in particular emits electromagnetic energy. And then I'm gonna go into how this goes directly to astrology. Okay. In seeking to support the hypothesis that the hydrogen atom radiates electromagnetic energy, we need not rely upon just a single statement from the Rutherford Appleton Research Laboratory and the popular press. In 1999, Eric D. Isaacs of Bell Laboratories, Lucent Technology, New Jersey, together with a team of scientists from Northeastern University, the European Secretariat faculty, and Canadian National, shown X-rays at a millimeter thick crystals of ultra pure ice. The team found fluctuations in the reflected X-rays, figure 17, like those observed when overlapping light waves interfere with each other. Their crests and troughs added and canceling, proving that hydrogen must radiate electromagnetic energy. But the team failed to realize the implications of the discovery because the purpose of the experiment, as far as they were concerned, was to find out how hydrogen atoms bond to other atoms to form molecules. And as so often happens in science, when researchers look for a specific effect and find an altogether different effect, they often try to fit the observed effect to their cause, ignoring discoveries falling outside the remit of the experiment. And to this day, the team of scientists involved with that important research have no idea that they were the first to detect helically polarized electromagnetic energy radiating from an hydrogen atom. All right, so now that's how they know for sure that the hydrogen atom emits electromagnetic energy. And in that part when he was describing how the corkscrew style electric wave is emitted, he was referencing this figure 16. Since I ain't read that, obviously, we didn't go over it, so I'm gonna show you right here what he's talking about. Essentially, same thing in the last video where he discussed the magnetic wave that is emitted. The electron or electromagnet topples over like this, right? Turns over like somebody spinning a baton, right? And as it circles the proton, so when it's like this to the proton, horizontal with the wave with the equator of the proton, is purely electric because the electric wave is hitting it right here. So the induction makes it give out purely electric energy. Then as it turns, it becomes half magnetic. Then it's purely magnetic because it's only the electric. See, all this was explained in the last video. It's only cutting in the middle of the coiled electromagnet. So it's only giving out purely magnetic. Then it goes around, it's purely electric, you see? So this is the cycle of the electromagnet around the proton, the cycle of the atom, okay? And this is what we call the zodiac. Now, he finna go on to the sun and how he will attribute the sun to he will attribute the science of the zodiac strictly to the sun. So let's go. I'm gonna go there, and he's gonna prove to you how the electromagnetic energy of the Earth affects DNA, and he's going to attribute that to the sun, but that doesn't necessarily make it true. So let me show you what I'm talking about. Okay, so the science of the sun, right? It's chapter 3 of this book. It's like I say, he give it all to astrology. He give it all astrology to the sun. Okay, so Pete. And this begin, just for the sake of brevity, like I did earlier, I'll let you read all this, but I'm gonna sum it up. Essentially, what they talking about is when they discovered the Van Allen belt, and then they discovered that they detected streams of charged particles, electrons and protons, byproducts of the solar fusion process, streaming towards the Earth in what is now described as the solar wind. All right. Then the organization of the particle was later mapped by the interplanetary spacecraft in '63 and found to correspond with the sun's spinning equatorial magnetic field sector boundaries, and as a result given the name sectored structure of the solar wind. And I'll show you this schematic in a second, this figure in a second. In '79, the astronomer discovered that when solar wind particles bombard the Van Allen belts, they cause variations in the Earth's geomagnetic field. Okay, geomagnetic field, excuse me. Variations in the solar wind produce changes in the Earth's magnosphere that are reflected in the terrestrial magnetic field at ground level. The sun, da 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 da. Okay, so they're saying the electromagnetic energy, the solar, or we'll say the solar wind particles, which is electrons and protons, right, affects the Van Allen belts. Okay, it's important. Let's keep going. So in '84, a team of scientists at Naval Medical Research Institute, Bethesda, Maryland, USA, discovered that magnetic fields from electric lights in their laboratory were affecting the manufacture of DNA, causing genetic mutations in the tissue of developing fetuses in test tube baby experiments performed on human cells called fibroblasts. The lowest level of magnetic field was used was lower than that. Okay, I need you to catch this. The lowest level of magnetic field used was lower than that of the Earth and still had an effect, proving that the Earth's field is strong enough to have the same effect. Did you catch that? The Earth's magnosphere has an effect on DNA. Do you get it? In 1927, German psychologist, that guy, following the research on one egg and two egg twins, concluded that personality must be determined by heredity factors genetically determined. Okay, your personality determined by your parents. In '86, I showed, he getting into his own shit, going to his own bag, with the publication Astrogenetics, how the differential rotations of the sun result in the release of 12 different monthly bursts of radiation from the sun throughout the year that cause 12 unique bursts of magnetic activity from the Van Allen belts annually, and consequently 12 different types of mutation force each year. You see, you know what those 12 mutation forces each year is? What you call zodiac signs. So you see he's giving it all to the sun. Okay? And I will make it clear to you why I don't attribute astrology particularly to the sun later on in this video. These discoveries enable me to construct the astrogenetic model, figure 57, finna go there in a second, which explains how human personality is determined. The sun radiates 12 different sequences of radiation each year. Each monthly sequence bombards the Van Allen belts, causing 12 different sequences of magnetic field at ground level each year that cause 12 types of genetic mutations in early and pregnant ova. Hence, the mechanisms result in a dispersion of 12 types of human personalities, coincident with the sun sign astrological belief. All right, so you remember at the beginning I asked you, what does radiation and magnetism have to do with each other, right? Now, this is figure 57. As you know, he quoted figure 57. This is it. All right, so essentially what he showed and proved in that was how the hydrogen atom emitted electromagnetic energy, and how the magnetic field of the earth affects DNA. Okay? The magnetic field of the earth. Okay, this is important because this is what answered the question I posed at the beginning. Now, the terrestrial magnetic field varies at ground level, right? The varying magnetic field affects the manufacture of DNA at conception, resulting in 4 types of genetic mutations, too early in impregnate over 3 times within the year. Okay, so that's how he comes to this. He the 4 sequential codes of radiation that leaves the sun every 4 months. All right, this was based on a study of some sort. You know, he quotes it, and then this is the astrology signs: Aries, Fire, Taurus, Earth, Gemini, Cancer, Leo. Okay, you get it. So he making the correlation, and this is describing describing this, which he already said, but the dispersion of the 12 types of genetic mutations caused by the 12 types of solar radiation each year correlate with the 12 astrological signs of the zodiac DNA. Graphs show the results of 2 studies carried out by Jeff Mayo under the aegis of Professor Hens that at the London Institute of Psychiatry. The positive signs are extroverted, the negative signs are introverted, suggesting that the sun is responsible for the determination of personality, sun sign astrology, through genetic mutation at the time of conception. All right, so he's telling you that sun sign astrology obviously corresponds to the sun. But we know just via the birth chart that there's more to astrology than just the sun, right? So understand what he's saying. The magnetic field is what affects the DNA, but the magnetic field is affected by the radiation given off by the sun. The sun radiates charged particles, plus minus, right? Plus minus, the charged solar wind particles enters the Van Allen belts and spirals between poles. So the Van Allen belts is what's, they claim is around the Earth, right? And then because of the radiation from the sun, it affects the magnetic field of the Earth. So what does radiation have to do with magnetism? Well, what is radiation? Let's get to this etymology. All right, you see, radiation goes back to rad 2. Rad 2 is radius, etc. A ray, X-ray, ray. All right, a ray. Nature word ray is known. The X algebra, radiator, radiation. Okay, you see, it's a ray. All right, that's what it is. All right, so what is a ray? A ray, a beam of light. Light ray of the sun. So the radiation comes from the sun, the spoke of a wheel, right? And y'all should know that wheel is the zodiac. All right, so we understand that a ray or radiation, right, is the light given off by the sun. When we know light is a result of what? Electricity. And we know electricity is what? One form of electromagnetism. And what's the other form of electromagnetism? The magnetic spectrum. That which is affected by the radiation. You get it? So radiation, when they say radiation, you automatically associate that with something opposite of everyday everyday electromagnetic energy. But this is showing you that radiation is nothing but electromagnetic energy, and that affects the magnetic field of the earth because electromagnetism is what we're talking about. Okay, the two go hand in hand. And you'll notice that these people call it radiation, and that should put you right in the mind of this. You dig? Okay. Ra. Ra is what? The falcon. Characteristics with the sky god Horus. Remember I told you what Horus is with the wings. Okay. Remember that. Now we talking about the radiation that the sun gives. Okay. The spinning cycle. The wings. You get it. Ra. Now if you understand, the ancient people didn't believe, well, the people who laid down the mythologies originally, because over time a lot of the original science has been lost. But the people knew that the sun was not the sole source of life. Okay? And now I know it says that the sun is the giver of life, controlling the opening of the cross, blah, blah, blah. But you'll notice that that is only with certain dynasties of Egypt at a specific time. Before it was Atum or Amun or Osiris or Ptah, or the names have been changed and twisted up over the years because different cultures, you'll see it talking about different dynasties. He was identified with the local god Atum, you see. You see what I'm saying? So a lot of that has been muddled up over the years. Okay, but the truth is in the name. Okay, the name is Ra. Now, Ra or Re. Now, what is Re in our everyday language? Okay, Re in our everyday language, R-E, right, the etymology, means backwards, over again. Okay, Re, 5 columns, re-elect, retrain, y'all know what Re means. It means to do over again, backwards. Okay, now the reason for that is because the sun is not a fireball. The sun is a transmuter. The sun takes the energy from source and transmutes it to the people. Okay, that's why right now in our everyday language means to redo something, to retry something backwards over again. Okay, and in ancient times, the sun was called Ra because the people knew Ra was a form, okay, of the electromagnetic energy that is source. Okay, hence this is why, and like I told you, names have been changed through the years. Things been muddled up. Okay, so in Hebrew, when the Hebrew ideology came about, the sun was evil, right? So if you look up Ra in Hebrew, it means bad or evil. Okay, this word combines together wicked deeds and consequences, because this physical world is not our origins. We are spirit. The physical world is Satan. Okay, and that's why Ra can be associated with the serpent. Okay, or Ra has also been associated with Set. You see, in different times. Okay, but that's why nowadays the people who we call the evil people, what have you, worship the sun. Do you know the Big Bang? The Big Bang theory was first put out by a Jesuit, a Catholic Jesuit. You know that? Okay, so look, let's keep going. Now, I watched this video earlier today. Check this out.
So, again, he gets a different set of rules. And I started to wonder, this guy preaches a lot of divisiveness. That's exactly what the Jesuit motto is, divide and conquer. And I noticed something about Young Pharaoh. It's the day that his channel was created, the 201st day of the year, one of the most special numbers to the Jesuit order, 201. And just to show you something real quick, gematria. Been trying to get him to talk about it for a long time. His birthday is August 30th. From his birthday to the day that he got this headline was his 177th day of his age. The Jesuit order equals 177 forwards, 201 in reverse. And these numbers are used so ritualistically with these people again and again. Big headline just recently, Captain Tom of the UK. He was knighted on July 17th, 17/7, and he died on February 2nd, 201 days later. And he's remembered for being the hero of the Burma campaign in the world wars. Burma, where they're now having the conflict where the military just overthrew the government, and the government that was established on the day the Jesuits were recognized by Roman history. Again, all this stuff has to do with the Jesuit order, which is the New World Order. And anyway, one of the big headlines out of what's going on in the Burmese conflict right now, the Myanmar conflict, Burma and Myanmar are the same place. But you get this international headline about this young woman who was killed protesting, whose name is 201 and 84, just like the Jesuit order is 201 and 84, also 78 like Jesuit. Again, these numbers are used so ritualistically. And notice, Young Pharaoh's channel was established July 20th. That's the 201st day of the year, July 20th. That's the day in history the moon landing happened. The moon landing, the first man on the moon. His name, Neil Alden Armstrong. Look it up. All facts. Neil Alden Armstrong, 201. And again, big boss number with the Jesuit order. Gematria is based on the alphabetic order forwards and backwards and the rules of numerology. But you see how the Jesuit order is 201? Again, the founder of the Jesuits is Ignatius of Loyola, whose name is 201. The first Jesuit pope is Pope Francis, whose birth name is Jorge Mario Bergoglio, which is 201. And look it up. He's the first ever pope to live in Suite 201 at the Vatican. And again, the name of his apartment is the Domus Sanctae Martae, which is 201. And Event 201 was the coronavirus outbreak simulation and a whole bunch of stuff. You know, they got the whole world ignited over the George Perry Floyd divisive propaganda. His name's 201. Remember, his baby mama's name was Roxy Washington, which is 201. And it came right after the Treasury Secretary, that Skull and Bones dude, said that they weren't going to have Harriet Tubman be on the $20 bill for at least 8 more years. And that was days before the counterfeit $20 bill story with George Floyd, which is a 201. Again, just understand, they put this 201 on their agents. Their thing is divide and conquer, the Jesuits. Young Pharaoh's preaching segregation, you guys. He's been preaching segregation. I mean, you can't be more divisive. But, yeah, man, on his 177th day of his age, this headline, and here's the thing. February 22nd is the 53rd day of the year. Religion's 53. And he's being accused of being anti-Semitic. Again, in the Old Testament, the Hebrews have dark skin. You know, Methuselah's clearly black. He has an albino child. So for a young black man to be accused of anti-Semitic, this is also a level of mockery right here. But, again, from his August 30th birthday, born in 93, that big year, he's always preaching, praise the sun, worship the sun. They tell us the sun's 93 million miles away. Again, with the most simple cipher, you guys. With the most simple cipher. God's sun is 93. Nazareth 93. Crucifix 93. God's son. Catholic Church gave us the language, the calendar. It's all synced up with Jesus. The sun, S-U-N. The sun, S-O-N. You know. Young Pharaoh saying Jesus is evil. He's blocking out the sun. Worship the sun directly. Again, I'm not here to tell you what to believe or what to worship, but Young Pharaoh's just so divisive even when he talks about religion and spirituality. And again, it's just obvious. He's here to provoke and divide. He is a Jesuit pawn.
So the dude went in real strong on the Young Pharaoh cat, which I've been told y'all dude had I think Can't Morris put it out on dude. He had the police with him in one of his lectures, like on some undercover shit. So dude been what it was. We already knew what it was. That's why you don't really pay them types no mind. So he was making this point of this 201 number, 201. And I just watched that video this morning, and I've been working on this video since last night. And I came up and I was gonna implement this lesson on Ra, and I realized that Ra spelled not this way, but spelled R Aleph is 201. So when I looked up 201 in the Kabbalistic dictionary, look what I got. Light. But this ain't Ra though. This is R. R. It'll be Aleph and Resh, A-R, which ain't a word by itself, but it is the root word to Ark, as in the Ark of the Covenant. Okay, Aaron refers to the Ark of the Covenant. Okay, and it's also the root word to Ariel, Area, and that means lion. Now, the lion rules what zodiac sign? Leo, the sun. You see, this is why the A and the R, the Aleph and the Resh, Ra, the Transmuter. You see what I'm saying? It's not your God. God is in everything. Okay? So lastly, the brother in that video went in on the number 93. Let's look what 93 is in the Kabbalistic dictionary. The sons of God. Now they use these numbers for a reason. Alright, it's what I'm showing you with the Ra, the 201. Alright, so 93, sons of God, a disc. Okay, this will be become more apparent in the next video when I go more to explaining, well, summing it all up. But just to finish this one, show you something that I thought was a trip. Remember the brother also said 177, right? Well, look what 177 equals. The Garden of Eden. Ain't that some shit? Right? So why they always use 177? Why they always use 93? Now, just to show you that it's not a game, you not realize if you add 93 and 177, you get 270, right? Watch what 270 equals. Bam. Ra. The original one I went to and I showed you, and I said not spelled this way when I remember. See how it comes back around. So next video, I'm gonna show you how the only way all of this can make sense. So see you then.